into the white. Night draped itself over the hollow like wet cloth. The shard braid still burned, but its glow was thin, each shimmer carrying the thread of flicker. Families lay sleepless in the lantern hall and along the safer terraces, bundled shoulder to shoulder. The air was sour with smoke, sweat, and fear. Every creak of rope or sigh of plank drew heads up in alarm. Corrin sat apart, knees drawn tight, palms raw and restless. He had never known the hollow this quiet. Not even during sickness, not even in storm. The silence pressed like a weight, heavy with the sense of waiting. He couldn't bear it. His eyes kept pulling toward the east span, where post 3 hunched like a wounded shoulder in the fog. Idrun had barred the ladders, posted rope hands to guard the path, but even from here Corrin could see the way the cliff edge leaned, stone-scarred pale where the crack ran. It felt like looking at a wound that would never heal. Riva found him there, perched against the railing. She dropped onto the plank beside him, harp strapped across her back, braid damp against her shoulder. For a time she said nothing. Just sat, listening. Her knee brushed his, deliberate, steadying. When he didn't move, she leaned her harp against her thigh, fingers plucking one muted string as if testing the air. Corrin's hands tightened on the rail, jaw working, but he didn't look at her. At last she tipped her head, pale eyes catching his profile. "You're burning inside," she said. "I can't sit while it unravels." His voice was low, fierce. "We've always tied phrase. That's what keeps us alive. And now they say, just let it tear." Her pale eyes shone silver in the shardlight. "You think you're strong enough to bind stone? I think I have to try." She turned, grabbed his wrist, and pressed his palm flat against the railing. The wood was cold, damp with mist. "Feel that? The gorge is breathing. I can hear it in the wires, in the wind. If you climb into that, it won't matter how strong you are. It will take you." Corrin pulled his hand free, jaw tight. "Better me than all of us." Her lips pressed thin. For a moment, he thought she would plead. Instead she looked away, shoulders stiff. "You sound just like your father the night before he went down." The words cut sharper than she meant. His breath caught, then steadied into iron. "Then maybe it's in my blood." Shardlight flickered. For one heartbeat the hollow vanished into darkness, 1,000 lungs holding in fear. When the silver came back, Corrin was already on his feet. "Corrin," Riva whispered, voice breaking for the first time. He didn't look back. He could have called for the council. Could have begged Idrun for a chance. But that would only bring refusal. So he slid into the shadow of a smokehouse. The shardlight didn't reach there. Every board creaked louder than his breath. At the ladder head, rope hands huddled close, muttering to keep fear out of their throats. One, Bila, a thin-faced youth, leaned too far over the rail to shout, back turned. Another rubbed his palms together and squinted toward the shadows. "Now!" Corrin stepped from the dark. "Bila," he called, casual as a man running an errand. "You dropped a knot at the rail." His voice only shook at the end. The boy grumbled under his breath and bent. The older rope hand's gaze snagged on Corrin, narrowing in suspicion. For a breath too long, Corrin thought the man would ask who sent him. He forced his shoulders loose, his jaw easy, as if he had nowhere better to be. The man spat into the fog and turned away. Corrin let out the smallest breath and moved with the motion, scooping coil and hook as though it belonged to him. Years on rope had taught him to keep his face plain, his steps ordinary. Invisible. He tested the guard rope with 2 fingers. It thrummed under his touch, faint as a pulse. He swung the coil across his shoulder, nodded as though on order, and was through the ladder gate before doubt could catch him. No one stopped him. Riva had slipped to the terrace edge. Even from here he saw her face pale as shardlight, lips forming a word she didn't speak. Don't. Her hand clutched the harp strap as if it might keep her rooted. He gave her the smallest of nods, apology, farewell, and dropped from sight. The latter accepted him with a groan. His boots slid, rope burned fresh against his palms. The fog pressed close, swallowing shardlight, making the rungs vanish 2 breaths below his feet. A gust rocked the braid. His body swayed out over the gorge. For a heartbeat he hung between rope and emptiness, mist tugging at him like fingers. His grip screamed. Then the wind eased and he clung hard, breath caught high in his throat. He forced himself lower. Each rung came slow, heavy, as if the gorge itself pulled back. His muscles burned. The mist carried scents of stone and iron and something colder, a breath not his own. The ladder creaked again, louder. His foot slipped against a damp rung and slid. His weight dropped in a lurch that snapped pain through his shoulders. The rope held, but the sound of it groaning through the fog made his pulse hammer. He froze, clinging, before inching down again. He reached a mid-ledge, pressed his forehead to the post, and let out a ragged sigh. The cliff beneath him shuddered faintly, as if remembering where it wanted to break. From above, faint and trembling, Riva's harp gave a moan that wasn't music. Below him the anchors jutted like broken teeth. The crack yawned wider, black as a river through stone. He dropped lower, hands aching, arms shaking from more than weight. The rope hummed under him, not just from strain but from something deeper, as though the gorge itself were plucking it. Halfway to the broken post the fog changed. Not thinner, not thicker, different. The world peeled back a layer. His fingertips numbed. His ears filled with a low ringing, a bell struck somewhere out of sight. The gorge was listening. He wedged his heel in a shallow split. Forced his hand toward the post plate. His knuckles brushed stone cold enough to burn. The fog curled back, and for a heartbeat he thought he saw movement in it, a shadow where no shadow should be, rising with his breath. His pulse stumbled. He jerked his gaze away, told himself it was nothing, but his hand shook as he reached. A crack rang out, bright, sharp. The rope jerked. Above, the shard braid flared, light stuttering like anger. From the terraces came the sudden scream of Riva's harp. Corin's hand closed on the plate. He felt, for the first time in his life, how small a single man was against a cliff. He looked up. The notch in the stone widened, black as a mouth taking breath. And from above, a shout, half horror, half command, tore the night open.